All right, hello and welcome to the HBANZ Season 14 podcast, Episode 1. I'm here with Dilza and Maxi. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks
Thanks
for having me.
No worries.
Right,
All right,
hello and
so
welcome
to start off the episode, we're going to have a look at the
podcast,
teams for this
episode
season
1.
and
I'm here with
just
Dilza
give
and
out
Maxi.
our
Thanks for
thoughts on
joining me, guys.
how the season will pan out
Thanks for
having
having
and
me.
how the
Thanks
draft
for having
went
me.
for certain
All right,
caps.
so
Start off the episode. We're going to
have a look at the
teams. Have a look at the teams for this season and give out our thoughts on how the season will pan out
Thanks for having me.
and how the
Thanks
draft
for
went
having
for
me.
certain caps.
So
Start off the episode. We're going to teams. The fuck is going on? Alright, take two. Captains and Alright, hello and welcome to the HBANZ Season 14 podcast, Episode 1. I'm here with Dilza and Maxi. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks
for having me.
No worries. Alright, so to start off the episode, we're going to have a look at the teams for this season and just give out our thoughts on how the season will pan out and how the draft went for certain captains. And yeah, we'll start off with the Lions. So, Maxi, you're the captain of the Lions. Looks like you took Kuma with your first pick. What was your reasoning there? How come you chose him over other players such as like Red Devil or Swoozy or whoever else?
I was strongly considering Swoozy, but him missing the first part of the season potentially scared me off a little because we've always tended to start slow, except the season where you played for Lions.
Yeah.
And I want to get a bit of a better start, and I think even though I was also considering Red Devil, but I don't know. I think Kuma's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, I think Kuma's definitely a safe pick as number one. Who have you paired him with? You've paired him with Ramin. How do you think you guys are going to go? Are you going to start goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Was that your plan the whole season? Like pre-draft?
Yeah. I was thinking about Dilza so I could have flexibility to go forward when things aren't doing well. But I think this team's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I've been impressed with Roman's form. I played with him last night and we were gelling pretty well.
I think it's understandable you chose Kuma over Swoozy because you did have the last pick in the third round, so you would be relying on them to show up for 5 games at least. Dills, what do you reckon of the Lions? What do you make of them? How do you think their chances will be this season? Maxi, Kuma, Ramin as a starters?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong lineup. You can't fault Kuma with the first pick, reliable pick. Understandable taking him over Swoozy. I think Kuma's about the only one you would take over Swoozy. But yeah, I think he'll go well with Ramin. I don't think they've played together before, but yeah, Ramin seemed to be getting in some really good form after his trade to Bullworms last season, and yeah, I think those two will make a really good pairing. Yeah, I think Max is solid in goal, so yeah, I think that'll be a really good team.
Yeah, I think Maxi pretty much drafted as well as he could have. I think Kuma and Ramin will make a really strong lineup up front. I think Maxi, it's time for you to shine. I think you gotta come out with some offensive power, help supply. And I think if you're able to take on that role and you do it well, I think you guys will be really, really good.
Well, watch this space. I've got something planned.
Oh, all right. We believe in you, Maxi. We'll have a look at the D2 lineups after we go through D1. So we'll move on to the Bullworms. So this is Ebus's team. He's drafted Joey and Dilza with his first two picks. Now, I want to start off on this one, and I know Ebus is going to be happy with me, but I'm going to come out and say it. I think Ebus should have drafted Swoozy, and here's why. So he decided to draft Joey instead, and he banked on getting Ramin in the second round. So that would have been a lineup of Ebus, Ramin, and Joey, which is very solid. But I think he needed to be a bit smarter because I think the top 8 picks coming into the draft were pretty obvious. I think Dilza and Ramin are always going to go in round 2 and the other 6 in round 1. I don't see why he would bank on Maxi getting Dilza as they're both goalkeepers. I think Maxi getting Ramin was the right choice and that was always going to happen. And now he's pretty much stuck with a lineup of him, Joey and Dills, which is a solid lineup, but I think they're going to struggle offensively. As I mentioned in the Supercoach podcast, you guys didn't have too much success last time, Dills, when you pair with Joey. So,
yep,
I feel like if he got Swoozy instead of Joey, he would have missed those first 5 games, Swoozy, and Ebus wouldn't have had the best pick in round 3 either. But if you take a look at last season, you only needed 4 out of 10 wins to make finals. This season, you'll probably get 7 wins and you'll make it. So Swoozy can make 10 games. I think a lineup of Dilza, Swoozy, and Ebus. It's basically the Lions of last season, except Ebus instead of the Loving. And I think that team would win 7 games in the regular season without a doubt out of 10. And I probably think they'd challenge really well for a title. So I think Ebus missed this chance. I think he definitely should have got Swoozy. What do you guys think? Do you reckon? I think Joey was still a good pick. I do. I think that was probably his second best option because he needs a goalkeeper. But I think Swoozy was the pick for him. What do you guys think?
Yeah, just to add on to what you said, the other thing is Ebus drafted some pretty solid backup as well. So he had players, I guess, he didn't know who he was going to get, but he did end up getting pretty solid backup. So he would have been able to cover Swoozy anyway, if he had have taken Swoozy.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He did pick up Debated and Lukic as well. So
yeah,
be good fill-ins. What do you reckon, Max?
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say I reckon Lukic would have filled in well. I reckon they could have won a few of those 5 games.
Yeah, Lukic is a proven D1 player, so
yeah, I think Ebus, Swoozy, and Dills would be a scary lineup. I mean, Ebus pretty much plays the same position as DeLoving, and then Dills and Swoozy were credible last season. They were very tough to score him, so I think they would have made a great lineup. I think he missed this chance, and now he's in a bit of trouble. I think for the Bullworms to be successful, they need to make a trade. Whether it's Dills or Joey, I think one of them needs to go. I think they're both goalkeepers.
Yeah, Joey and I are very similar types of players. We've struggled to create chances and score in the past, and it wasn't. It was season 4 with Kuma. We were successful, but since then we've played together a few times, and just sort of struggled to create chances offensively. So similar types of players, and I don't really go well with Ebus either. Honestly, I don't think Ebus sort of thought past who was the best player at the pick, if you know what I mean. Like, he didn't think about the pairings. He just sort of picked who was the best player. So, yeah, he might be looking to make a trade. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I definitely think Joey would have been a good pick, but I think he was inevitable, always going to get you. Um, yeah, I didn't see Maxi getting you at all, Dill. So, oh well. That's the Bullworms anyway. I guess he could just try you guys, see if it works. It always could. I mean, it's been 3 seasons since you last played together, so who knows what will happen. But yeah, we'll see what happens in round 1 and 2 for the Bullworms. We'll move on to the Frenchies. So we got Frenchie, Red Devil, and Pat. What do you guys think of this team? What do you think, Max?
I think that should be very offensively solid. I mean, there's question marks about Frenchie's ping, but apparently he's fixed it up. So I reckon that team will do very well.
Yeah, I've definitely heard Frenchie coming out and saying that his ping is all good. What about your deals? What do you make of them?
Yeah, interesting draft by Frenchie. Red Devil, great player, great pick. Even though I think Swoozy would have been a better pick. But yeah, you can't fault Red Devil's a great player, great season last season. But past that, Pat, I don't like that pick. I don't like. He hasn't really been a good Div 1 player for at least a couple of seasons now, I think. And they've got David as well, who is a bit similar to Pat in that way. They've got Master GK, who was drafted much lower than he was last season, so he's one that could play some Div 1 for them. But yeah, I just I worry a bit about that team. Just Frenchie and Red Devil, they'll be great together, but after that, I worry a bit.
Yeah, there's massive question marks over the goalkeeper. I mean, I reckon.
Yeah, who's going to keep
outfield? But I reckon he would have been a better pick than Pat.
Yeah, I definitely thought Pat was an interesting choice at 9. I thought he could have got him maybe in the 3rd round, to be honest, if he really wanted Pat.
Yeah.
I played with Pat, I don't know if it was season 10, but with him and VXI. And Pat was actually really good with me. I really liked him. I rated him pretty high. I regretted picking Blank over him in whatever season it was, because me, Blank, and Gang, whatever, just did not gel. So I do rate Pat. But he hasn't played too much lately, and he's very busy at uni. So yeah, it's an interesting pick. I think he has potential. I really do. I think he can be solid if he practices enough. I think he relies on a lot of practice, Pat, to perform well. But you pair him with Frenchie and Red Devil. That's a strong team. I mean, a strong offensive side that is. I played with Red last season. He's insane, that guy. He's the best forward that I've ever played with, including Winky, including Ramin, including Pat, anyone. He's insane. And Frenchie is a really strong mid. He can play the role I did. And Pat just needs to just play his role, and they'll be really good. I really rate the Frenchies. But I understand why people think Pat is a risky pick as well. I probably wouldn't have got him that early myself. But no, I think they'll do well. I think Frenchie had a good draft. David's an experienced hand to show up when he can to fill in. Yeah, it's just a good draft for me. So yeah, I think they'll finish maybe top 3 at least. Anyway, we'll move on to the Cox. So we got Chicken, Moz, and NZ Kills. Now, in my personal opinion, this may be the weakest lineup in the league. They decided to go with Kills in round 2. I think Kills is a great player. I think he's got so much potential. I drafted him in his first season. I knew he was going to be one of the top sideys. Is he D1 ready against the quality that we have in the league now? I'm not sure. I think he's sometimes too safe at mid. I think he needs to. I don't know the words he used besides the X factor word that I always use, like last season with DeLoving. He needs that spiciness, I'll say, from Fank's vocabulary. I think.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I think Moz probably wasn't his best pick. I think Swoozie was actually a really good pick for Chicken. I was banking on Chicken getting Swoozie.
Yeah,
Difficult
I
for him.
was I thought Chicken would get Swoozie with that pick.
Yeah,
I was pretty surprised he didn't. Really surprised actually.
yeah, for sure. I think Moz is a great player though, but he does have his ping issue, so that's going to be the big question mark on the Cox is if Moz can get on the field with good ping and not lag out like he did with the Lions. I don't know if that was that last season, but yeah. What do you
Yeah.
guys? What do you think deals of this team in total?
Yeah, like you said, Chicken and Moz. Chicken's a gun, top player. Moz, pretty similar. He can do some scary things. So those two together should be really good. I don't know. I think Chicken will keep. Because Kill said he wants to play mid this season. So you could have Chicken in goal with Kills and Moz as the forward. That's not a bad lineup. But like you said, I played against Kills in Div 2 last season, and he's good, but like you said, maybe just not quite ready for Div 1. He's a top tier Div 2 player, definitely. But just maybe if I was Chicken, I would have picked Squidder instead to keep. So Chicken doesn't have to keep. But he did get Jad too, so that's a good depth pick. Yeah, how they're going to go overall this season, it's tough to say. Probably at this stage, I see them outside the top 3 or 4.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I think it's probably a fair prediction. Just looking on paper at the moment, I think Chicken and Moz and Kills are a good team. I do, but in comparison to other teams, they might be one of the weaker sides. What do you reckon, Max?
Yeah, I think they would have been better off either drafting like a more experienced player at their third round pick, and then getting in their Kills, or picking like a proper keeper so Chicken can forward with Moz, because I think he's better outfield and it gives it more attacking spark.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I do rate Chicken as a goalkeeper though. I think he performed exceptionally well in the semis. I think it was last season against the Lions. Was it Dilza Maxi?
yeah,
Was
he's a
that the
very good
Lions? Yeah.
goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think he's almost single-handedly carried the Bullworms to a win in that series.
Yeah,
He was on fire, but yeah, I think like you said, Squidder would have made an excellent pick instead of Kills. And Squid ended up going to the Mario Bros. So we'll touch on them now. So yeah, we got Mario, Barca, and Squidder as the starting lineup. Now Mario has been given a lot of shit for not taking Swoozie. Now I mentioned that Ebus should have got him, but Ebus didn't get him. Frenchie should have got him, he didn't. Chicken should have got him, he didn't. And then Mario was the last straw. He definitely should have got him. He made a huge mistake, and now Sweezy is, well, he's fallen to infamous, and that's, well, most people think it's a pretty scary pairing. But he did manage to get Barca. It's not like he picked some dud, right? So Barca's a great player. I was definitely interested in Barca before the draft. I think he has a great lineup, regardless of not getting Sweezy. I think Mario, Barca, and Squidder is very scary. I think they're very solid. It's going to be hard to score on them for sure. Murray's probably the best goalkeeper in HBANZ. But it's just a chance missed for Murray, I think. I mean, if he had gotten Swoozie, Mario, Swoozie, and Squidder, I mean, even Juicy over Squidder, if depending on who you rate more, that's almost unstoppable. Like, how are you going to score on Mario and Swoozie? It's ridiculous. So I think he missed out there. What do you guys think, Dils?
yeah, agree. Like you said, he's not the only one to blame for not getting Swoozie, but he was, the last one before you who, he just definitely should have taken Swoozie with that pick. Yeah, and like he was complaining that who he wanted was already taken or something, and Swoozie was still there up on the table. It's like, I don't know what he's complaining about. You just got to take him. But anyway, he took Barca. Mario Barca Squid. It's a pretty strong lineup. Barca's been really good the last few seasons. He was pretty high up in the MVP last season, maybe third, I think. Yeah, look, I think they can. Those three can be a really good team, and it's very strong, very solid team. They should be hard to score on. And then Freshy as well. I don't know if he'll play much. Probably not. He can't make Sundays, can he? So no. But yeah, those three should be really solid, and I can definitely see them making finals. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What do you reckon, Max?
Um, on paper, you could understand why Swoozy wasn't picked, but I think if anyone could have covered the 5 games where he was missing, I reckon Mario definitely could. I mean, he ended up getting Squidder, so those two together would have been pretty good. Then they could have got. I didn't really get like a Div 1 backup as well, but I still think that team should do well, but he could have. It was a bit of a missed opportunity, I reckon.
Yep, I agree with that. All right. Well, that's it for the Mario Bros then. We'll move on to the last team for D1, Infamous. So they got a lineup of myself, Dope, Swoozy, and Viper. Now, Swoozy will be missing the first, I think, 6 games of the season, and it could be 8. So Ulti is also going to miss most of D1. So for the first 6 or 8 games, it's going to be Dope, Viper, and Gang, which is probably one of the weakest lineups in D1 until Sweezy makes his return. But after Sweezy comes back, anything could happen. What do you think, Max? What do you think of Infamous so far?
Um, I'd be pretty happy if I was you. That's a lot of depth right up until Gang. It's questionable to see how you'll start, but I still think you can win a few games, and then when Swoozy comes back, or if there's I haven't seen how many 9 p.m. games you have, but Ulti will be able to play those, and then you should be able to play finals, and then Ulti said he'd try and make those. So it's a good team. Whether you have Ulti or Gang or Viper as your third, it should be one of the better teams in Div 1.
How about you, Dils?
Yeah, I think you've drafted probably the best out of anyone. Swoozy, it's just a ridiculous pick at 6, and Viper's a good player. Ulti, Ulti. I don't know. Can Ulti make Sundays or not?
I can play if it's like 9 or later, and then he said,
okay,
try and make it.
Because in my opinion, Ulti should have gone higher. So I think that's a really good pick, and I have no idea how Gang. I don't know if he's played lately or what, but I'm sure he's capable of filling in for a few matches. He's proven in the past he can do that. So, yeah, look, I think, when Swoozy comes back, that looks like the winning team to me.
Yeah,
and I think you've shown in the past you can play with, I guess, lesser skilled players and carry them. So I'm sure you'll pick up enough points early to, make finals.
Yeah, I definitely am concerned with the start a little bit. I know I don't gel too well with Gang from past seasons. I didn't actually plan on drafting him at all. I just saw him there and I thought he was the best player available, so I took him. I've played once since the grand final, and I got a new keyboard which I got to get used to. So I'm not expecting to play as anywhere near as well as I have in the past. Maybe it'll take me a few weeks to get it back, and that's concerning for me because I do want to get a few wins while Swoozy's gone. But I am really excited for Swoozy to come back. He's the best player in HBANZ, without a doubt. If you just look back at last season's grand final, he almost just carried the lines all the way there. He was the best player on that day, out of everyone. So Swoozy was the main guy I was worried about in this draft. Like, I was worried he'd fall to a Mario because of his low availability. I figured maybe the top few captains wouldn't get him, and I figured he'd fall to Mario. And I'm like, how are we going to beat them? So I even told Maxi, you should seriously consider Swoozy because he is the best player, and if you can make finals, you guys have a huge chance. Turns out he fell to me, and now I'm very happy. The only question with me and Sweezy is what position we'll play, because we have played pubs in the past together, and we haven't really gelled that well. I think we both play the same position, which is mid. So I think it'll look like I'll have to goal keep with him at mid. I think if I play mid, I won't use him as much as I should, and I feel like it's wasted. So if I go back to goalkeeper, I feel like I'll be more effective. So that's how it is at the moment. But yeah, I am very excited for what we could achieve. Anyway, we'll move on to D2. So we'll go back to the Lions D2 squad, the Cubs. This for me could be the winning team. Modric, Anks, and 13. Like just the offensive power in those three is ridiculous. Like Anks and 13, especially, they score goals. Like that's what they do. And if you can put a good goalkeeper with them, they'll go nuts. Like Sparks is solid enough to hold his own in D2. If you play 13 Anks and Modric, that's the only question, Maxi, for me is who's going to goalkeep. What's your plans? How do you feel about your team?
I'm pretty happy. I think it's the best I could have drafted given the gap between round 3 and 4, and I had like 11 picks between Angst and 13.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure who will keep. I mean, Sparks has been playing pretty well, and or we could play. I don't think Mod would goal keep. So one of Angst or Drag could goal keep, but maybe it's wasting their attacking chemistry. They've played together before. I think it'd work really well, and it'd be more scary for other teams. But we'll see what happens.
What do you make of them deals?
Yeah, I think once again Maxi has put together a fantastic Division 2 lineup, probably the best. I think Angst at pick 19 is a steal. I think he should have gone higher. Obviously, I played with him last season. I was very happy with him. He's a really good forward. And 13 last season was probably the best forward in Div 2. So to get him at 30, I mean, that's just ridiculous, really. I know he did sort of lie about his availability or whatever, but I think it was pretty obvious when he signed up with full availability that he'd be playing. So yeah, for all the captains to pass on him until pick 30, I think it's just crazy. And yeah, Modric as well. He was really good last season when called upon. The only thing with that lineup is Modric and Angst last season at times didn't have the best chemistry. Got a little bit frustrated with each other, especially about Modric's slow passing. So he'll have to improve that this season. But yeah, I think on paper that's the best Div 2 lineup. So yeah, well done, Maxi. Good drafting.
Yeah, for sure. When I got to pick 25, I definitely considered 13 instead of Fank. I think it probably would have been a better choice because Ulti is playing goalkeeper, and I think 13 has Fank's number in the outfield. But I did go with Fank because I know Ulti wanted to play with him, and I'm happy with Fank. I think 13 is just maybe the best forward next to Angst. So definitely a missed opportunity for me and the other captains as well. But I guess he can be a little bit cancerous at times. Maybe some captains didn't want that sort of attitude on the team. I know he forced the trade out of the Mario Bros last season. I think the Wario Bros, when he had to play with Chad. So that probably lowered his draft stock a little bit, but I guess it works for him in the end.
The only thing with that lineup is who's going to goal keep.
Yeah.
That's what I don't see. I don't think it's a good idea for 13 to be keeping. I think it would just sort of be wasted. He's the best forward. He should be playing forward and doing what he did last season. So where that leaves Modric and Angst, I don't know. But yeah, that's up to them to figure out, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely risky having such a high ping goalkeeper at the back
Yeah,
as
the
well.
ping too. That's yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see what the Cubs decide to go with. I'm sure they'll be very competitive in the end anyway. So let's move to the gummy worms now. So they started off their draft with debated Lukic and 7-Eleven, and now they have some subs of Iwobi, which is a really good player, I think. Dinner, Bluebird, and Ronbro, they probably won't show up too much or won't get on the field too much unless gummy worms rotate. What do you guys think? Debated Lukic and 7-Eleven as a starting lineup.
Oh, that's a pretty solid team. I think I heard Lukic saying he was too good for Div 2, so I don't know if he'll show up, but if he does, that's really a good team. They should do well. I really rate debated. When it came down to pick 17 and knowing I was going to get one of debated or angst, I was really happy because I thought both of them would be gone by then for sure.
Yeah, debated is a great player. It's hard to split him and Angst, and yeah, you got Angst, so that was very lucky. What do you reckon, Dills?
Yeah, debated, fantastic player. Again, I played with him last season, and yeah, made a big difference when he came in instead of Modric. I think he's possibly the best player in Div 2. I think Chicken should have picked him instead of Jad. But anyway, debated Lukic, 7-Eleven. It's a pretty solid team. I know Lukic wants to play Div 1, like Maxi said. If he shows up to Div 2, that'll be a really good team. Iwobi's a really good player as well. I played with him in a tournament, I think, pre-season. And yeah, he surprised me with how good he was. He can keep. Who will keep out of those? 7-Eleven?
Yeah, 7 is starting goalkeeper at the moment.
Okay, yeah. So no, that's a really strong lineup. So yeah, that can definitely challenge.
Yeah, I think debated Lukic will make a great pairing up front, and I think 7's actually a good goalkeeper. I honestly think 7's best position is a goalkeeper, and I think he's going to prove that this season. So watch this space on him. But they'll definitely do well. I think the Gummy Worms and then Iwobi as that sub is just great depth. I think Ebis drafted a much better D2 team than last season, and they should go well. All right, we'll move over to the Frints, which is Frenchie's D2 team, the Frints. So on that team we have David, MGK, and Igloo with subs as Jambi, Greenfied, Muffin, and Silence. Now, looking at that team, I'm worried if they're gonna be able to field a team. To be honest, like even if they do a competitive one, I mean, I don't know if David's playing D2. I haven't heard anything. If he is, he'll be really good in D2. Pairing with MGK, MGK has had some good success, and then Igloo, very interesting choice, but I think he's an up and coming good goalkeeper. I think they have a decent team. Not sure if they are better than the Gummy Worms or the Cubs, that remains to be seen. But I think their depth really hurts them. I don't think Jambi's going to show up that much. Greenfied, he should show up. I'm not sure if he'll be able to compete with the likes of like Angst or Lukic or any of them. Same with Muffin. I hear he's a new player. And then Silence. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Them coming up against Angst and all that might be difficult, so they will need to rely on David and MGK and Igloo all showing up to every single D2 game, and it is a long season, so that'll be a difficult task. But their starting team isn't too bad. What do you reckon, Dills?
Yeah, Igloo is a pretty good player. David, like you said, he should smash it in Div 2, so if he shows up, he'll do really well. Master GK, yes, again, pretty solid player. It should be a decent lineup. I do just want to say I really like Silence at pick 52. I played with him in a pub the other night and it really surprised me how much he'd improved. So I hope he gets a few games for them this season. He could be a really good player in the future. I'm surprised he went so late in the draft. Yeah, Jambi's always a good player. 8 availability, so he can play a few games. Greenfied, I was on his team last season, and he's actually pretty good. So he can easily fill in as well. They should be all right. But yeah, if David shows up, they could be a serious threat.
What do you reckon, Max?
I reckon they could surprise a bit. I reckon they could get 3rd or 4th if the starting team shows up. It's a big question mark whether Jambi or David will show up. So could be a problem. But I rate Green pretty highly when he plays on PC. I think for any other team, if he wasn't on Cubs or Barca's team, I reckon he would have potentially started or at least been 4th man. I've been really impressed with how he's developed.
Yeah,
he was real good last season.
I definitely think that that Green and Silence are great up-and-coming players. Whether they are ready to fill a starting position, I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see how they perform this season. But another thing to note is on that team, 3 out of 4 of their depth players, which is Jamie, Green, and Silence, they all have less than 15 availability, which could hurt them if David and Jamie, if just David can't make it. But yeah, they should do well. I mean, yeah, they'll compete for sure. That's definitely. Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to the Cox, the little Cox that is. We've got a starting lineup of, since Jad can't make Mondays, we got a starting lineup of Sue, Richie, and LCD. That is very interesting. It could be one of the weakest, maybe, because I think Chicken sacrifices D2 a little bit to get Jad as D1 backup, which I don't mind for the D1 team. I feel like Jad's a really good player, and he's great backup for D1, but you'd like your backup player to get some games in D2 as well. Sue is a rookie. I haven't seen too much of him, so you guys might need to help me with his game, but I know Richie is really strong. I like Richie a lot. I was looking to draft him. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. And then LCD, he proved last season he can fill in for D1, play a solid role in D2. I thought he'd go a little bit earlier. I thought he's like a really just strong, safe goalkeeper for D2, but yeah, that was good 2 picks for me. It's up to Sue to play how he's going to play. I've barely seen him on hacks at all, so you guys are going to help me with that hopefully. But then Shadow, he's only got 10 availability, Sue, so Shadow's going to need to fill in as well for at least 5 games, or they'll play Porter or players or haters. So what do you guys think of this team? How it is?
Yeah, like you, I haven't seen Sue either. I haven't seen him play at all. So Max, you'll have to help us out with that. But Richie, yeah, like you said, I think Richie's a pretty good player. He can do well in Div 2 this season. LCD, again, showed last season he's a pretty solid Div 2 keeper. Shadow making his return this season. And then they have Portal, players or haters. Yeah, so out of those last 3, it's I don't know if they're the best depth, but Sue, Richie, and LCD. Yeah, look, in my opinion, it's probably the weakest Div 2 lineup we've gone through so far. Yeah, what do you think of Sue, Maxi? Because I haven't seen him either.
He's a really good player at goalkeeper and forward. Like you were saying, I really worry about their depth when Sue isn't there. I mean, Shadow, Portal, and players or haters. Shadow's not too bad, but I'm not sure how that team will go. Richie's an experience as well. There's some pretty good D2 lineups out there. Richie is a good player, no doubt. It'll be interesting to see how he steps up when Sue's away.
Yeah, it's all up to Shadow to fill in for those 5 games when Sue isn't there. I have seen him Shadow recently. He's improved. He has. He's impressed me a little bit out forward. So I don't think he's a terrible depth pick. His final 2 picks of Portal and players is a bit questionable. I'm not sure how much they've played Portal and players. I know I had players last season, and I think he was new, like a rookie. So I don't think we were able to give him a minute. Unfortunately, I really would have liked to. I hope he does get a few games and shows us what he can do. Um, but yeah, I think the depth can be a bit shaky, but we'll see how they go anyway. The little cocks. So we'll move on to the Warrior Bros. They have Fweshy, RVP, and Juicy as the starting lineup. However, Juicy will miss the first 10 rounds, so Wingard will be the guy to come in for him. Um, I think that was a good uh, depth pick, Wingard. I mean, to fill in for Juicy, that's looking at that round. I mean, it's one of the best he could have gotten. I mean, he's not bad, Wingard. He's he's won D1 before. You know, he's got experience. Um, I think he's better as a goalkeeper, but you know he goes alright at forward. Pair him with Fweshy, arguably the best goalkeeper in D2, perhaps, and RVP, who's had some success in D2. You know, they're a decent lineup, and then I think if they can make finals, Juicy's going to come in and just tear it up. I think Juicy might be the best player in D2 when he comes back. He's so solid in D1. Like it's hard to see him not do well in D2 at the moment. And then as their backups, they have Pie and Cream, Hoji, and Mihir. We know Mihir won't show up. Not sure how active Hoji will be, but he's only got 7 availability. And Pie and Cream from Hong Kong, he's going to have a little bit higher ping than most. He's got 9 availability, so the depth is interesting. I haven't seen Pie and Cream play. I hear he might be alright. You're going to have to help me again with that, Max. But yeah, well, if you can, let us know what you think of Pie now. Max, have you seen him?
Yeah, he's a really good player. There is question marks on whether he'll show up or not, but I think Ebos got him to sign up, and if he shows up, I reckon he'll be a real surprise packet.
Cool. What do you think of the team, just in general as well?
I think it's pretty good. It's a bit of a worry seeing all those numbers less than 15.
Mhm.
So if someone like Mal is lagging, whether the other players will be there to fill in. I'm a massive fan of Juicy. I've played with him for 2 seasons. He's done really well. And if that team makes finals, they'll be a serious threat.
What do you reckon, Dils?
Yeah, Fweshy's a great player, so him and RBP should be pretty good. Like you said, when Juicy comes back, he's obviously too good for Div 2, I think. So those 3, gee, that's a pretty strong lineup. You've got Wingard to fill in while Juicy's not there. So yeah, that's a really good lineup. I've played with Pine Cream, I think, once, and he was pretty decent. So I don't know about Hoji, but yeah, me here won't show up. But yeah, that's pretty strong. Fweshy's really good keeper. RVP, I think he's shown in previous seasons he can be a really good Div 2 player. Just he hasn't shown up a couple of times, so they might need a couple of those guys like Pie and Cream and Hoji to show up as backup. But yeah, if at their best, I think they can definitely make finals. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely worry about the depth. Now I think about it, since they're not going to have Juicy for the first 10 rounds. So Fweshy, RVP, and Wingard will start. If one of them lags, Pine Cream needs to show up, and he's from
Yeah.
Hong Kong. Who knows if he will? So Hoji's got 7 availability. I don't know if he's going to show up. Mihir there is not going to come to any game, so it's a worry for them. I don't know why Mario didn't pick someone like Silence
Yeah, exactly.
or someone that would have shown to a bit more over Mihir there. It's like Mihir there probably should have gone last. So I think that was a mistake on Mario's part
Yep.
there. But I do really like the backup pick of Winger. That was really solid. I think they'll do well, and I think if they make finals and Juicy returns, Fleshy, Juicy, and RVP they'll win the league. I think. That's the two of them out of the three could be D1 players. Definitely one of them, and Fleshy maybe the other.
And that leaves Mal as a Div 2 bench player.
Yeah. All right, moving on to famous. So we got Ulti, Gang, and Fank as the starting three, and then the depth: Ruben, Jason, Jeffrey, and Chili. So I think Ulti and Gang are going to be really, really strong in D2. I think the only problem is, just from my eyes, what I hear is that Ulti is going to play goalkeeper with Fank outfield. I think they're both better in the opposite positions. I think Fank, he won D2 MVP as goalkeeper, 2 seasons ago? And I think Ulti is a better forward. So I really think the first few weeks, if they try that lineup and it might not succeed as well as they hope, I think then maybe they'll make the switch. At least I hope. I am letting Ulti just pick his team and go for it, have some fun. I don't want to be controlling or anything. But that's definitely my thoughts on that. I really like Ruben as a backup pick. We won D2 with him 2 seasons ago. I really rate him. A lot of people don't, but I like him. I like him as a goalkeeper. He's decent outfield. He's a good player. Jason, he's just famous legend. He just is always on famous every season. I really like Jason. He's a great bloke. He's a great player. Is definitely one of the best depth. And then to pick up Jeffrey and Chili as well, they've shown that they're not horrible players. They shouldn't have gone so late, I don't think. I think we have great depth. I really do. I think everyone's got 15 availability. Everyone is probably going to show up. It'll be really tough though, because sharing playtime might become a problem. Jeffrey and Chili, I don't know how many minutes Ulti will give them, but they could become a bit restless. So we'll see how that pans out. But I really like my team. I think they should do well. What do you reckon, Maxi?
Yeah, it's really tough to see who wins this season. I mean, Wario Bros have a really good team if they make finals. Obviously, Angst and Drag are going to do well. And Ulti and Gang is another really dangerous partnership. I agree with what you said. I'm a lot more worried about Ulti outfield than Fank outfield. I think they can still make it work, but I would be surprised if they don't make that switch at some stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the depth picks are really good. Ruben's done well in D2 before and filled in well in Div 1. And the other three will show up, and I definitely don't think Chili should have gone last round, even though he's a bit maligned at times.
Yeah, I can agree with that. What do you reckon, Dils?
Yeah, it seems obvious to me. Fanking goal, Ulti out, and with Gang as well. That's a pretty scary lineup for Div 2. And then you've got Ruben on the bench, who has shown before he can do the job in Div 2. So, yeah, look, that's a very solid Div 2 team. Then you got Jason as well. And like you said, Jeffrey and Chili, who will probably show up and win a few games. It's tough to see him getting games when you go through all those names. Just the thing is, will they switch Fank to goal? Because, yeah, to me it seems obvious Fank should play in goal. I think Ulti's more dangerous outfield.
Yeah, I think the general consensus is that Ulti should play outfield and Fank should goalkeep, but I want them to have fun and play where they want to play. So hopefully they'll succeed. And if not, maybe they'll just change up. If they don't, that's fine too.
I think they can afford to give that a go. Got a very solid lineup, so they should be able to get some points later on if they mess up the first few games anyway.
Yeah, and it is a 15-game season, so it is a lot of time to change positions if they need to.
Yep.
So yeah, that pretty much covers all the teams. Looking at the recording, we've gone up to 47 minutes, so we'll probably skip the matchups for rounds 1 and 2. But in the next podcast, we'll go over the games for round 1 and 2, see the results, and then we might look at the matchups for rounds 3 and 4. So we'll probably end it here. Thank you for joining me, Deals and Maxi. You guys are great.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, well, I guess Max is sleeping. So anyway, we'll see you for the next podcast next week. Thanks.